everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from finally clear-aired Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast,
I'm Frank Feldman.
and I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, what was
Education.
me? Yeah, it's sad.
We'll be talking about how education, the future of education in this country.
Yeah.
Hint, there won't be one.
Gone forever.
Gone.
Anyway, so that's coming down the pike. But first, we've got some stories. For
Various and sundry things to talk about. There's stuff happening in the world. What do you got?
Well, I have a story about the Boy Scouts.
Oh, one of our favorite topics.
Changing and morphing Boy Scouts.
Oh.
They've I don't know what got into their britches as far as that didn't sound right. but
What's funny is that you're thinking who got into their britches, and
Right.
my brain went to it's the Boy Scouts, critters, various and sundry.
Yeah.
Your little beetles and whatever.
but they've become downright progressive.
What?
Compared to not really, but no, they've changed their policy that would affect whether transgender boys can participate in the Boy Scouts.
Okay.
And
really?
So now they are allowing young transgender boys into their ranks.
That's amazing.
They are no longer looking at birth certificates to determine gender.
That's amazing.
And it pretty much was a surprise announcement. Nobody really knows of a serious case that was. I mean, clearly there was something that came to a head with them.
Here's
but
what's something.
They made the decision.
The Girl Scouts were kicking their ass.
Yeah, no kidding.
Girl Scouts were being awesome. They were being little shitheads.
Yeah. But obviously this can cause some problems for the Boy Scouts going down the road.
Oh, yeah. They will raise a hackle or two on that one.
With regards to Trail Life USA, do you remember them?
No.
We've talked about them before on the show.
Okay.
This is the conservative alternative to Boy Scouts.
Oh, well, good.
Which I guess if it's more right on the spectrum than the Boy Scouts, maybe this is the alt-right option.
This is where
This is how
where
far right can you go?
the Bundy
to get to the
Ranch
right
guys send their boys.
Yeah, this is some pretty very, very, very fringe right.
We've got the take. I just got my taking over a government building badge, merit badge.
I just got my prepper badge.
Yeah, exactly. Compound. I got my compound creation badge.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
It's good.
Yeah. So yeah, this obviously the large groups, the largest groups that have membership in the Boy Scouts are groups like the Roman Catholic Church and the Mormon Church.
Yeah.
Obviously, they are not going to be happy about this.
Well, I'm guessing that they're following their other announcement, because when they announced that they would let gay boys be in, and then when they announced that they would let gay men be leaders,
Yeah.
what they said was, "But you religious troops don't have to do it."
Right. That was kind of
we're
the compromise.
allowing it,
Right.
but you don't have to. And
Your
I'm guessing
own
that
individual charters can determine.
right, and I'm guessing that they're on the same lines.
The article
trans thing.
surprisingly did not address that issue.
Huh.
It stayed a little bit more broad than that, I guess. This was I found the article I read was from the New York Times.
Okay.
And but yeah,
Well, go little trans boys.
yeah, you can make your Pinewood Derby
Yeah, exactly.
cards now, and
Go thrill to the sights and sounds of a canoe. Enjoy yourself out there.
you still have to believe in God.
Right. No atheists. Obviously, that would be crazy to allow an atheist.
But who knows? Maybe that's coming. The way they're going at this point,
It's coming around the mountain when it comes. We'll see.
the only problem is you have to actually change things like the Scout oath.
Yeah.
And that will be tricky because
Or just
that's
allow
so
kids
tangible.
not to say it.
Yeah, but then what's the oath for if you can just pick and choose words that don't apply to you?
On my honor. Is it that on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country.
Uh-huh. And to obey the Scout law.
Right.
Right, and that's the whole trustworthy, loyal, brave, clean, reverent,
Yeah.
thrifty, brave, clean and reverent.
You missed helpful and friendly.
Courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful.
I think
Clean,
sleepy, dopey,
clean,
grumpy.
Fastidious.
That's your ideal scout troop.
Organized.
All right, troop OCD, I'm calling you to order. Oh, God. Okay, well, good for them. I'm glad for that.
You know,
Progress happens in
congratulate
increments.
the PSA.
Yeah,
today.
sure. What are we gonna? Yeah,
Like a year ago, I was still feeling pretty down on them, and now they only have like one other thing for this. An organization that actually holds that I actually used to hold in very high regard.
Yeah.
As a kid, I had a great time in Cub Scouts, and then later on in the Boy Scouts. I was an Eagle Scout. Like, I was into it.
Yeah.
I worked at a Boy Scout camp one summer as an adult. Like, and then I came out of the closet, and it was like, well, yeah, that's
fuck you.
and started accepting that no, maybe that organization isn't all that it's cracked up to be.
Right. It's all that it's cracked up to be if you're one of these people.
Right.
But if you're one of these people or these people or these people.
As soon as I started feeling excluded
Right.
from sort of the official stance of the BSA, I started to become critical of the BSA.
Lord Baden-Powell is rolling in his grave.
Who knows?
That dude was gay as a May Day. That dude was queer. Anyway, I'm going to take us now to... there's an organization called SNAP, the Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests. Now, this is an organization that has worked for a long time, like almost 30 years, trying to... as an advocacy organization for those who have been molested or abused in some way by the clergy.
Right.
There's been some shakeup there recently, where two of the founders of SNAP have recently left the group.
Oh, really?
Both claiming that it has nothing to do with a lawsuit filed against SNAP that was filed claiming that SNAP has been taking kickbacks to refer clients to specific lawyers.
Okay.
Now, here's the tricky part. You've got an organization that helps people who have been molested by priests.
Right.
There are certain lawyers out there who have specialized in this, so they are the ones who probably should get the clients.
Right.
And those lawyers are appreciative of the work that SNAP does and donate to SNAP. Now, at some point along the way, that could be malfeasance. There could be something bad happening there.
Yeah.
Or it could just be the normal life cycle of two industries that are sort of intertwined.
I love the idea of...
It's an industry. Hell yeah, it's an industry. Yeah, these lawyers are making a fortune.
Well, then they
off of
also...
suing the...
Well, right, but then they also have to rely on, these priests to keep abusing.
Well, and
because
they never fail to disappoint.
The priests scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
The priests are doing their job.
One hand washes the other, Dan.
Well, then maybe that's where we should be looking for the kickbacks.
Yeah,
to the priests.
To the priests.
Priests.
That's the real problem.
The priests themselves.
That's the evil one.
It's not like the priests themselves are going to jail. It's just that the Catholic Church is suing or is having to pay money.
Right. So these SNAP and these lawyers should be sending money to the Catholic Church. The priests. Yeah. Not directly. There needs to be sort of a fund.
Right. Exactly. Line my polyester pockets with that sweet, sweet money while I go off molesting. Yeah. So I don't know what to think. Like, so the lawsuit is claiming that this lady was fired from the organization after she raised objections to this kickback scheme, as she calls it.
Right.
The Snap themselves say, no, that's not a thing. That's not what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a little weird that the two founders. So let's see. One of the founders, Barbara Blaine, she was president of Snap, is now she's out. She is leaving the organization. Again, saying it had nothing to do with the lawsuit. And that happened less than 2 weeks after David Clohessy, who was their executive director, also left. So yeah, I don't know. There's rumblings within.
Well, that's too bad.
It does seem like Snap is
On a certain level,
it's an important organization.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even if there is corruption, they're probably still doing good work. Some people,
yeah, I mean, you got to weed out corrupt. You can't.
absolutely.
You
But here's
can't-
the other thing. It's not like the money's going directly to line. Like nobody's alleging that the money was going to these two people. The claim is that the money's coming back to the organization.
What's the big deal then?
I'm saying.
I'm almost like, okay, I need somebody to maybe explain, nonprofit ethics a little bit to me. But like,
Yeah, I mean, you may be in some murky water there with these lawyers. I mean, apparently some like settlement money was going directly to Snap, but that seems reasonable. Like Snap was helping with this investigation. Was probably, I mean, Snap is in the middle of the whole thing. I don't know.
these people are being a little, a little touchy, a little sensitive.
Thanks for eliminating the word touchy. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, so like for instance, the lawsuit alleges that in 2007, 81% of the donations that Snap received, totaling the total donations being $437,000. 81% of that came from victims' lawyers. 2008, 65% of their $753,000 came from lawyers. But again, like, you could say that's back scratching, mutual back scratching, but also like these lawyers want that organization to do well.
Yeah.
And they haven't, I mean, not only do they have, they probably, I mean, they deal with these victims all day long. They have not only a vested like financial interest in that organization doing well, but of course they want that. They want victims to have support.
Yeah, that's rough.
Lawyers are human.
Yeah.
Ish. They're human-esque. They seem like humans.
Borderline humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, again, I would be very curious to hear what actual ethics guidelines for nonprofits and for lawyers. What does the Bar Association say about this kind of, thing? I mean, as long as, like, professional ethics councils don't have a problem with it, I'm having a hard time seeing what the problem is.
Yeah, me too.
But there could be something there that's just sort of a best practices. You just don't do it for some reason,
right?
That on the surface doesn't seem apparent. So I am willing to kind of concede that. Well, I don't know enough
right.
to issue my own judgment here.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's really weird, huh?
Yeah. So there you go. We're reporting on something that I don't know what I think about it, but
That's fine.
yeah.
That's fine. Well, here's a potential problem.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, there was this National Prayer Breakfast thing.
Oh, sure.
The president of the U.S. always goes to this thing.
Yeah.
And
Even that Muslim Obama went.
Yeah, even he somehow found
And
it.
kept quoting from the Bible. That's not your book.
Weird. So
That's
weird.
That's our book.
A very strange thing to do, Obama. Trump went, and he has... he said some weird things, and people are kind of, on both sides of the religious and the non-religious divide, are kind of going, huh? What did he just say? One of the things that particularly, and specifically, I think atheists need to be very concerned about is he vowed to let churches engage in politics.
Yeah.
This was actually a campaign promise, one that I didn't even hear because, the man his mouth opens and it's just one nonsense thing after another.
A flowing river that it's hard to navigate. The rapids. It's just the rapids.
It's really kind of shock and awe. I've decided that the Trump administration is clearly working shock and awe on the American people right now.
Yeah.
And it's hard to stay focused. But nonetheless, there's this whole, it's called the Johnson Amendment. And it's been
named for then Senator Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Yes, it became law in the 1950s, and it prevents sort of preaching politics over the pulpit.
Well, what it prevents is for any 501c3 to engage in direct politics.
Right. So you can't
you can't endorse a candidate.
Lobbying is severely limited.
You can't endorse a political party or any of that stuff.
Yeah, and so this has been sort of a hallmark of American politics and American churches and the nonprofit scene, and rightly so for a lot of different reasons. Not just because of the influence that religions and churches are able to exert on their followers, but also because the churches themselves should be concerned about the idea of politics getting mixed in, because it has it could potentially have a very corrupting effect on the clergy and the pulpit and the churches themselves, because they could become basically pawns for political movements.
But not only that, there's another concern, and I think that this is a very important concern, and that is that when we give 501c3 status to an organization or a church, we make them not have to pay taxes, and donations to them are tax deductible to the donor.
Right.
And we can't make political donations tax deductible.
Exactly.
And that's the effect of this is that you can effectively make political donations tax deductible.
Right. And then there's this church sitting there, and it becomes a political entity.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yep.
It becomes a nonprofit political entity that now has lobbying power.
It's a PAC.
And it's a PAC of sorts, but even worse.
Yeah.
And this is why, I mean, that may not concern a lot of the parishioners, and the parishioners should be looking at this and saying, I'm not here to hear religion over the pulpit. And I would say that probably by and large, that's probably the sentiment.
Religion, yes, over the pulpit. I think you mean politics.
Politics over the pulpit. Oh, sorry. I don't want to be hearing politics over the pulpit.
Right.
And like, who wants to go to church and hear politics? You want to be like, if you're a believer, aren't you going to be inspired? Aren't you going to be
even if you agree with it? Here's a funny thing. I used to every now and then stop in on the Unitarian church so my first wife used to sing in their choir. She was a sort of paid ringer for their choir there.
Right.
And so I would stop in every now and then, hear the music, and I liked Reverend Tom here in Salt Lake. He gave a good sermon. It's a guy who's got a doctorate degree in sermonizing.
So he's good at it.
He's good at it, and because it's Unitarian, it didn't have a lot of Jesus God stuff. It had much more like sort of thorough care about the world, care about humanity sort of message, and I like that. He would get into political stuff, local politics stuff, and every time he did, even though I agreed with him 100% on pretty much everything he said, it was so fucking off-putting I couldn't go back.
Right.
It was, and that's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not where that belongs, and fucking don't lecture me about it.
Right.
You can talk to me about the beauty of the earth and like where humanity needs to be and that sort of thing. But when you start getting into politics, even when I agree with you, you're in the wrong zone.
Right. And so this is a really dangerous thing for Donald Trump to be trying to push. It clearly is something that only corrupt members of the clergy would probably be interested in.
Well, they claim that it's a First Amendment question. Don't infringe on our right to free speech is what they claim. But
that's not what it is.
I mean, they have the right to that if they want to give up their tax exempt status.
Right.
Just don't be tax exempt and you can say whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. Your organization can do whatever it wants.
But aside from that, he also said something else.
Oh, dear.
About prayer, Dan. You have the clip, right? Hold up.
Yeah, I do. Should we play it?
Yeah. I mean, this is the prayer breakfast. So this is Donald Trump's sincere prayer.
This is classy Donald Trump addressing some of the most important religious leaders of our country.
We had tremendous success on The Apprentice, and when I ran for president, I had to leave the show. That's when I knew for sure I was doing it. And they hired a big movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to take my place. And we know how that turned out. The ratings went right down the tubes. It's been a total disaster. And Mark will never, ever bet against Trump again. And I want to just pray for Arnold if we can for those ratings, okay?
Pray for Arnold.
Yeah, and the ratings.
And
it's important
and the ratings.
To pray for the ratings.
I posted that clip on my Facebook wall and was just like, and basically I said, how can any believer think that he respects their religion?
Right.
Because he clearly has zero respect. Like I'm an atheist. Mm-hmm. I'm an outspoken atheist. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in your God.
Right.
Your God is a stupid notion to me.
Right.
I would have been 1,000 times more respectful than fucking Trump.
Pray for the ratings.
Like how
now we know what.
And here's what's amazing.
Prays for
my most combative conservative Facebook friend commented on that post.
Yeah,
and I was ready. I was like, I was putting on the boxing gloves.
Yeah,
I was strapping in.
Yeah,
and she was just like, she said this whole thing about like you don't paint Trump voters with a single brush and blah blah blah. And I corrected her and I said I didn't. I just said that believers should not be thinking that this man respects their religion.
Right.
And she said, "Oh, I agree with that."
Right.
I was like, "God damn," because she's mega Christian.
Oh yeah. Didn't really get too far into it with my dad on the phone the other day because he was calling to update some health issues and whatnot. So that's what we were really talking about.
Sure.
He dropped a really weird line about Donald Trump. And I was like, all right, good.
What did he say?
I can't remember the specifics,
but something on the negative side.
It was enough to just be like, oh. It was like having billionaires run the country. I think it was something about that where he was just like, that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, I
had another friend post a thing on Facebook about what billionaire would you rather have than Donald Trump? And you know what I realized?
What?
A, I don't want a billionaire as my president. But any U.S. billionaire, I will take a Coke over Donald Trump. I don't care. I will. Any U.S. billionaire is better to me.
I think there's one good choice, I think.
There's a few good choices.
I think Gates.
Gates would be good.
Seems like he's
Buffett might be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, you're right, though. Anyway.
Seriously. I mean, I probably wouldn't take, Sultan of Brunei or something. But,
no.
But, any U.S. billionaire other than Donald Trump, I would probably take over Donald Trump.
Peter Thiel.
I don't know who that is.
He's a really nasty one who sued BuzzFeed. No, not BuzzFeed.
Oh, yeah.
Gawker.
Yeah.
Gawker. And he wasn't even the one suing it. He funded it.
Yeah.
Right? And
right. Did you see Arnold's response to Trump? It was basically he basically said, "Okay, you're right. You're better at television than I am, so let's just trade." I've got experience with executive leadership. We'll just trade jobs. You come back to TV, I'll take over. To which I say, I'd take him over Trump.
Yes.
Give me a Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, let's change that little law.
Right.
Let's change the Constitution real quick.
Yeah, it's not legal or anything, and obviously never going to happen. But also, I disagree with how Schwarzenegger ran California. Like, a lot of his decisions were horrific. I don't care. I'll take him over Trump.
Yeah, I would take almost anyone over Trump at this point.
There are barnyard animals that would do a better job by not doing anything. A lump.
What? Yeah, I'm kind of now just thinking, like, what horrible figures from history would I rather have as president?
I'm gonna give him a little bit more time before I decide which horrible figures of history I would take over him. I gotta really we gotta give him more than 2 weeks before we gauge how bad he is in the ranks of horrible historical leaders. I don't know. First 2 weeks, Genghis Khan, better or worse? I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to move us along to Florida, where a man has apparently attempted to steal $7 billion in fraudulent wire transfers.
What?
Which, by the way, don't get greedy. If you've figured out how to do fraudulent wire transfers, keep it under the radar. $7 billion is going to raise some eyebrows.
Yeah. Where? Yeah.
So
all of a sudden, there's a new billionaire on the scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did this guy come from? He's on the Forbes list.
Right, exactly.
All right.
Yeah. He apparently, the criminal complaint against him, against John Michael Haskew, is heavily redacted, so we don't know a lot.
Okay.
We know that he was setting up wire transfers from a, quote, large nationally renowned financial institution known thereafter as Bank A. What's interesting to me about this particular one is that he stated that, quote, Jesus Christ created wealth for everyone. And that he was using this scheme to he believed that he was supposed to be obtaining this wealth because of the prosperity gospel, essentially.
Oh yeah.
There's wealth for everybody, and he found a way to get his Jesus wealth. So why doesn't everybody just get off his grill?
Yeah. If Jesus wants you to have money.
Jesus wants you to be wealthy, like there are so many evangelists that are telling you this.
So what was he doing? They were fake wire transfers?
Yeah, not sure exactly how it was working, but he has pleaded guilty at least to one count of lying to the feds. But he hasn't.
So how much money did he have in his bank? He had $7 billion in his bank when they came in.
I don't know.
How does this work?
Again, there's not very much information. What I know is he's accused of trying to steal $7 billion.
Was it a $7 billion wire transfer?
No.
It was fraudulent?
No, it was several wire transfers, but it wasn't like the way you do something like this is you piece it out into like millions of wire transfers, right? You do a little, 10 cents here, 3 cents there. No, it was like, it was let's see, numerous, but I think one of the articles that I read, like I said, there's so little information on this one. I looked for as much as I could find, but it seemed like it was under 100. It was probably under 20 wire transfers. He's not a smart man. The man's not good at wire fraud.
At thievery.
But
figured out some kind of weird hole though. In the system.
Yeah, I'm impressed. But yeah, he's in jail.
Wow. Well,
Jesus apparently did not help him out as much as he had thought he had.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, it is sad.
Oh man, he had a whole thing figured out.
Oh,
that's just. I wish I could figure out how to get $7 billion.
I feel like everybody loves a story that starts with
I wouldn't
a Florida
want $7
man.
billion. That's just too much.
Oh yeah, that'd be awful. That'd be the worst to have $7 billion. I'd hate it.
Well, I mean, just look at the statistics on lottery winners. Like
They don't get billions.
Well, it's not about the total amount. It's about having a windfall of cash and what it can do to people's lives.
You said doo-doo.
Whatever. All right, Dan.
Yeah?
Pot. I don't know why pot stories keep hitting my radar.
Yeah, man. What are you Googling?
I'm not.
Apparently, Google's driving specific kind of story to your desk.
Knows what I like. Anyway, so this is something that I wouldn't have really thought about the need for, but kosher marijuana edibles are apparently a Sabbath necessity. Says the LA Weekly.
Of course they are.
Well, here's the issue. If you're an observant Jew,
and I am,
and you observe the Sabbath,
yeah,
you can't make flame. You can't make fire, right?
Oh, so you can't smoke your weed.
You can't smoke your weed.
Okay.
And so you need an edible.
And you can't use like a volcano, like a vaporizer either, because you can't push buttons.
Right, exactly.
God, you're just fucked.
Right.
You got to have the edibles.
So you got to get your kosher edibles.
What could be non-kosher about an edible? Like what? Are they making edible like marijuana cheeseburgers?
Well, I mean, so here's some of the options about that would need to be kosher in the preparation, right?
Okay.
And this is if you're going to be making gummy bears,
yeah,
right? You can't be using gelatin or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Right? Brownies, chocolate, hard candy, beef jerky, right? Like the beef jerky, like the handling of, you have to be using kosher meats and and I'm sure there's other sort of things about kosher diets that we're not fully aware of.
Right.
But as far as like a brownie, you're going to have butter involved. And I know there's requirements with dairy and whatnot. So this whole, there's a need, if you're going to be prepping and making edibles, for them to be kosher.
No weed bacon. That's out. That is out.
That's no matter how hard you try to make it kosher and follow all the guidelines.
Yeah, it's just not going to work.
The premise is faulty.
You're stopped on the ground floor on that one.
But there are also, there's a grower that is working hard to sort of follow all the sort of Jewish guidelines.
Okay, that's good.
And so they don't work on the Sabbath. And even if it's like raining, they won't go out and tend to the pot plants.
Oh, wow.
As one should, apparently. I didn't know this was a thing. It's a plant. Why can't it be rained on? But apparently there's something with pot that if it gets rained on at a certain point, it can be damaging or whatever.
Wait, they're not doing these in grow houses? Come on, man. This is an indoor sport.
This is official. This is out in California. They're growing these totally legitimately as part of the medical marijuana whole sector of the agricultural industry out there. And so, they're part of a group called Ganja. Very clever. They're taking gan, which is the Hebrew word for garden, and the Rastafarian name for God, Jah, and their name is Ganja.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning the garden of God.
Somebody worked very hard for that joke. That's
a total stoner thing. They're just like, man, I've got the best name.
There was a really high rabbi somewhere that was like, oh, and I've studied because we have gan, which you as you know, maybe I don't know. Yeah.
But they even spell the gan out in Hebrew letters.
Right.
And then Jah.
Right.
Very, very clever. Oh, and they make brittle. That's their big thing. It's both gluten-free and kosher. And it's parv, so it's vegan as well. So.
It caters to all of your stupid superstitions. All at once. Good job, everybody. We're all in this together, kids. Oh, okay. Well, here's I'm going to take us to a great place to eat your edibles.
Oh, good.
Ken Ham, noted creationist and ark builder.
Yes.
Modern Noah.
Yes.
Has decided, now this makes sense on one level, but remember when we were talking, you and I were talking earlier today, and I mentioned how we were talking about Liberty University, and I mentioned that they're sometimes tone deaf to the gayness of some things.
Yeah.
Because Liberty University's mascot is the Flames.
Oh, the flames.
This one makes a little more sense. Ken Ham at one point had lit up the Ark at night in rainbow colors.
In support of the gay community?
It's the rainbow.
Look at that.
No.
Uh-oh.
They are taking it back from you gays. The gays stole it. It was theirs originally. They had it before. They owned it.
The Lord gave the originally the Jews, the rainbow.
That's right. Noah.
As a promise, as a commitment.
As a
covenant.
As a pretty thing in the sky.
No, it was the Lord promising that he would never again flood the earth.
It represents the quote, everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. According to the Ark Park, the rainbow stands as a poignant reminder that God keeps his promises, unless he doesn't. Despite the wickedness in the world, God has not sent another global flood to destroy all flesh. Yeah, but he did send that first one. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
How he did...
Well, he didn't have a rainbow yet.
Right.
He had not figured out how to create a spectrum.
He was not...
split the spectrum of light
The
out
rainbow was...
So that you could,
Yeah.
into its constituent colors.
So, yes, the Ark Park is now taking back the rainbow.
Ark Park?
But I do, I do love. We're trying to help.
Is that the official name? Ark Park?
No, it's the Ark Encounter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's an ugly rainbow that they've put up there.
The gays would have done a better job.
The gays would have done a better job. Yeah. It's not even a good rainbow.
It doesn't seem to be following the normal. What is it, Roy G. Biv?
Right. Well, it kind of. So it's
but they're not really committed to science.
It's a repeating pattern. So it's got like sort of an orangey red, and then a green. It starts with a blue, and then it's got an orangey red, and then a green, and then a blue, and then an orangey red. And that's not how rainbows work.
No, but again, they're not really committed to science. So.
They're not committed to anything except except explaining in ways that don't make any sense a story that also doesn't make any sense.
It's really remarkable.
They're really good at it.
It's so disturbing.
So stupid. Anyway, the Ark is gay now. Go see the gay Ark if you want to.
And did they also accompany it with like some loud club music?
Oh yeah. It's all electronic dance music from now on. That's at nighttime. In the daytime, it's there for kids, and you go and you learn about how the dinosaurs were on the Ark, and then at nighttime,
Club Ark,
gay nightclub. So there you go. If you have any information about gay Ark encounters. Gay encounters on the Ark.
I bet there are plenty of gay Ark encounters.
I'll bet there are.
Or gay encounters at the Ark.
Yeah, for sure. Ooh. You can write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, do that. Go to the Facebook page, too. Facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join.
You'll get new friends. What's wrong? What could be better than that? Well, Frank.
Yes.
I think it's time for us to be taught a lesson in. My wife is an interior designer. And since I've, in the 10 years that she and I have been together, my my design game has been raised significantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm downright snobby sometimes.
Well, but I don't know that anything that you or Andrea have ever done could possibly compete with a Trump hotel.
No, I think what we've got here.
Have any of Andrea's designs ever been compared to heaven?
Well, not by someone as illustrious as one Mr. Jim Baker.
Or trustworthy on the topic.
Right. So let's hear what he has to say.
I'll tell you what, I would vote for Trump just from what he did to the old post office.
That's right. Beautiful.
I mean, he turned the old post office into a palace. And that's what he wants to do for things in America.
That's right.
And I'll tell you what. And so we get into, do we have any pictures inside? If God builds ballrooms, it's going to be nicer than Trump's, I know. But I'll tell you what, it looked like heaven to me. It was the most gorgeous, giant chandeliers, of course, and all the beauty, in white and gold. It was just the most beautiful place.
Jim wanted to see the lobby so bad anyway, and so it was just like God going, okay, I'm going to let you see the lobby, and we're going to just have you
and
just
a ballroom,
wait in this
a private ballroom,
in this little private ballroom
and it had
area.
food there if we wanted it, but I'd already eaten breakfast. And then Trump bathrooms. You know what Trump bathrooms are?
All I can
They're not outhouses.
No. No.
There's a Trump bathroom in the hotel right there.
Wow.
There.
That's the mess.
I don't usually have my picture taken in the bathroom, but I'll tell you.
The mess. Well, I can tell you the women's is much
there was a
nicer.
man in there, and he wanted a picture with me, so we had a picture taken in the bathroom.
Yeah, me too.
But
many.
Lots of bathroom pictures.
Oh my God! Can I just say, I pulled up the Trump hotel website.
Oh yeah.
For this DC.
Oh, is it just glorious? Is it as beautiful as?
I can't even find very many pictures. To be honest, they're clearly not as proud of the beauty of of this venue as Mr. Baker is.
Well, the Bakers are strangely. What kind of caught me off guard is that, unfortunately, our listeners couldn't see the pictures that were being shown.
Oh.
And it's a big, opulent ballroom.
I mean, I'm looking at a
but
picture.
It's nothing that ridiculously fancy. No, it's not that impressive.
I feel like Jim Baker is of the generation that believes that if it's white and gold, it's inherently classy.
Right.
I mean, I'm looking at a picture of this ballroom now, and it's got, white tablecloths with sort of goldish chairs, and like all the walls have white and gold with like these white pillars with gold capitals and white gold.
And
it looks like
there are chandeliers, sort of the crystal chandelier variety.
Right. It looks like an LDS Temple's celestial room.
It honestly does.
It looks like Louis XIV sort of threw up, and that's what spewed all over everything.
Right, yeah. And then the bathrooms, there were marble surfaces and wood detailing,
but really stupid.
Not that
you don't understand. If you know anything about design, it's dumb. If you know nothing about design, it's fine. But it's like you're making really bad choice. The mirrors have this sort of like
gilded
wood frame around that looks like a sort of like a ropey sort of twisty thing going on.
Yeah.
So the fuck what?
Yeah, but it's fancy.
Yeah,
it's really it's what heaven's like.
Nothing innovative. Nothing.
Yeah.
Great. It's just dull. Anyway.
Yeah.
Now, so thank you for tuning in to Design Talk with Frank and Dan. It's our new podcast that we're doing now.
Jim Baker. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time imagining he's never been in a fancy, quote unquote, fancy hotel of this ilk, right?
He's got to have been in better hotels.
What is
he
doing? He must be does he sort of underestimate his audience? Or maybe he knows exactly who his audience is? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. He's just saying it's so beautiful because he knows his audience would think that was that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. There you go. It's not that great, kids. That's what we're getting at.
It's just Trumpian. That's all.
It's very Trumpy. Trump, a Trump hotel. You're gonna see gold tones.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna see.
That's what he does.
Yeah. Why is there red? Why is the carpet red? Why is there red in the drapes? Gold. Right. I need gold.
Yeah.
Only gold.
This is the classiest.
It's the classiest thing.
Hotel.
Class all the way. That means gold. On the toilet, make it gold. Everything.
Who doesn't know this?
Red is for ties that are tied too long. That's all red's for.
Right. The Trump rules.
The Trump rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a few people write into us, mostly just sending us some links and stuff that we're going to talk about a little later.
Right.
But we had one guy write into us and say, "Hey, Frank and Dan, this is from Zach. I was listening to your most recent episode, and I noticed some errors in your coverage of Trump's Muslim ban. It was, in our defense, it was fresh off the presses when we were trying to sort of fumble our way around it. Mm-hmm. First off, the stay only affects green card holders, visa holders, and people who already have a legal right to enter the country. So this is what he's talking about is a judge had ordered a stay on the on the order, but it only affected those who already had visas or legal right to enter the country. This covers a couple hundred people. For everyone else in the named countries, the ban is still in effect. This brings us to a bigger issue. Under 8 U.S. Code 1182, the president has legal authority to ban any class of people from any country by proclamation. Since the 14th Amendment does not apply to people outside the U.S., Trump has the legal authority to ban Muslims if he chose to. Of course, it is legal is a different question than is this immoral or is this batshit insane? I thought I would say something because I've been seeing a lot of liberal-leaning sources making this mistake. You're calling us liberal-leaning.
I think we're downright liberal.
What?
There's no leaning.
What could have?
How dare you, sir?
How dare you? We're about religion. We're not about politics. So obviously we don't have a bias in terms of political questions at all.
That's absurd.
That's absurd. He then wrote in again and corrected himself. He says, and of course, after I write in to correct you on the impact of the judge's stay on the Muslim ban, a different judge goes and puts a stay on the whole order. And he says, thanks, Judge James Robart. Which, yes, Mr. Judge Robart is kind of a cool little hero now, in my mind. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for checking up on us on that.
Yeah, no, we need that. We need people.
Yeah.
We're not legal experts.
No, we're not experts on anything. We're technically like the opposite of experts. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. What am I? I think we know how to record a podcast at this point.
Yeah?
I'd say we're experts on that.
Pretty decent at that. I make a mean gin and tonic.
Oh, yeah, you're an expert gin and tonic maker.
Yeah.
I've had your mac and cheese.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad, Dan.
Not bad. So there you go. I think, it's from a box.
Is it expert? Well, but you did an expert job following those instructions and pouring the powdered cheese.
I'm really good at it.
You do a great job.
Yeah, I think. So we do have our areas of expertise.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
but none of those are legal in any way. Anyway, hey, you know what I wanted to talk about?
What's that?
How you been sleeping?
Actually, I haven't been sleeping well.
I'm sorry.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that question. The truth is, haven't been sleeping well.
Yeah. You know what you need?
What do I need?
I don't know either. But one thing that might help is our new sponsor, Casper Mattresses, who they make mattresses for people who need to sleep well.
Well, excellent. Okay. Tell me a few things about this.
I'm going to guess people have heard of these guys, but we'll just fill you in a little bit on Casper. They've been engineered here in the U.S. They are priced fairly. If you look at mattresses, the price of mattresses. Mm-hmm. And here's what you do. You order it online.
Yeah.
It comes to you.
Right.
It's free shipping anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. You get to keep it for 100 nights, risk-free, in your house. If you don't love it, they'll pick it up. They'll take it away on their dime, refund every penny that you've paid. They've got over 20,000 reviews online with an average of 4.8 stars.
Wow.
That's out of 5. That's not out of 10. That's out of 5.
Out of 5. That's really impressive. Then.
Yeah. Here's what we're talking about. We're talking about various foams.
Uh-huh.
I love that it's foams.
Yeah, well,
because
there's more than one foam.
Lots of different layers. And they've engineered it so that they have the right layers in the right place to give you the right amount of support, the right amount of squish, as they call it, just the right sink and just the right bounce. If it's something that you're interested in, you go to www.casper.com/TGIA, and here's what's going to happen. You're going to get $50 off.
Right.
$50!
And do you also have to enter TGIA as a promo code?
Yes.
Okay.
TGIA is also the promo code. I think the website will even remind you to enter that promo code.
Excellent. But nonetheless...
TGIA, it's a super easy thing to remember. Thank God I'm atheist.
Off.
And you get $50 off, and you can try it with no risk. Now, do we have some people to thank? Some lovely donors, some patrons?
We do. We have new patrons on Patreon who need our thanks and deserve our thanks and have our thanks.
They are recipients, genuine recipients of our thanks.
Of our thanks. These are 3 new members of the faithful.
Hooray!
We have Rob, Torsten, and Brian. They are now all faithful listeners. And James continues to be our Savior.
Our Lord and Savior, James. You guys, it's so important to us. It helps us so much to do this. If you can become a patron of the program. Yeah. To do so, you just go to thankgodimatheist.com, and then you click on the Patreon button there.
Yeah,
it takes you straight to it. You become a patron. You get perks.
Benefits?
There are benefits. You get an ad-free version of the show.
Yeah.
You get at certain levels you'll get other perks, things like Frank and Dan diaries, where we just ramble at you.
Yeah.
They're the members only benefits here, kids.
Yeah.
Please, if you feel so inclined, go ahead and do that. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
So, Dan.
Yeah.
We have this new president, and with new presidents...
I don't like it.
I
don't like it already.
New political appointees to run, to head up his... cabinet, and all sorts of stuff.
That'll happen.
But one that we wanted to pay attention to is the Department of Education. And we're atheists. So
what?
I know.
Okay.
Education's important. I think that's a hallmark. It's a shared value.
If we have any values at all shared between
something that
atheists.
I think we can all agree on is the value and the importance of education.
I mean, let's face it. Strong, real education, an honest look at the real world is what got us here in the first place.
Exactly.
You and I were both Christians.
Yes.
We were both Mormon Christians.
Yes.
That's a special brand.
Yeah.
And we done educated our way out.
Absolutely.
So education, it leads people to the light. Now, here's the problem. The dark keeps wanting to pull education back in.
Boy, howdy.
And what we got is we got Donald John Trump trying to appoint at this point not yet successfully bringing Betsy DeVos in as the
this is not a foregone conclusion that she's going to get through this process.
It's very possible that she doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. If I were laying odds, I'd say she gets through and she's going to be our next Secretary of Education. Is that what it is? Secretary of Education?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cabinet level position. So she I'm sorry, but actually there have been, now 2 Republican senators who've come out and said that they are not going to be voting for her.
Yeah.
So, this does not seem to be a shoo-in for the Trump administration.
In part because she's terrible. Regardless of anything else, she knows nothing. She has no experience with any kind of administration of education,
right,
or schooling,
right.
She has no education in schooling or education,
and the education she has
is from Christian colleges and Christian schools and stuff.
Yeah,
and that's the big thrust, is that she wants vouchers, and she has been campaigning for years and years on school vouchers, or support, not campaigning as in she's running for anything. She's been giving money. She got foundations, whatever.
Right.
She is a neo-Calvinist. In her Christianity.
Oh yeah, I love the neo-Calvinists.
Oh sure. Nothing like a good Puritan to get you to.
I love anything from the Anabaptist movement.
Sure, why not?
Big fan.
Yeah. Anyway, her education activism has all been efforts as a means, according to Wikipedia, to quote, advance God's kingdom. She wants to get kids into Christian schools. So all of her campaigning has been basically to try and find backdoor ways to get government money to pay for kids to go to Jesus school.
Oh, that's just horrifying.
And that's what vouchers are.
Wrong.
Vouchers are all about now what they'll say vouchers are about, what a lot of people say vouchers are about, is it's all about giving kids options other than just public school.
Right.
And,
because
to a lot of people
are failing public schools. That's the narrative.
Right. Well, and to a lot of people, I can totally see the appeal of this. If you're in a part of an urban environment that has shitty schools, you live on the wrong side of the tracks, and your schools don't get the money that the rich kids' schools do.
Right.
And you see that there are kids who are going to these private schools.
Right.
And then, the class sizes are smaller and it looks a lot better. And you're like, yeah, I want that for my kid, but I can't afford that.
Right.
And then someone comes along and says, vouchers, which means that somehow we give, whatever school you want to send your kid to. If it's not a public school,
right,
great, send them to this private school. We'll kick in the money.
Right.
Which sounds awesome. But there are some huge, and I mean Donald Trump level huge problems with this. Big league problems, or big league problems. Either way.
We still don't know which one he said.
Nobody knows. He doesn't know whether he's saying. I'm convinced in one of the debates when people were saying, is it big league? Is it big league? I think he switched. He said big league, but he knew he had gotten some shit for that word before.
Yeah.
And switched it to big league for the second time he said it.
Neither one should be said.
Both are stupid. Both are stupid. Anyway, here's some of the problems with vouchers that Mrs. DeVos is so hip to.
Tell us.
One thing, obviously, the idea is that they're getting around the regulations.
Yes.
That are preventing public schools from teaching things like creationism and young earth creationism and dinosaurs lived with people and all of that stuff. That's important. I think we all know, because alternative facts are supposed to be just for politicians, not for our education system. But
alternative facts shouldn't be for anyone, Dan.
That's a good point. You're true.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's there's no regulation currently on what these shitty private Christian schools have to teach. Right. Whereas with public schools, if a public school is going to get and here's the thing, the federal government doesn't set up schools.
Right.
But they fund a lot of things that public schools do. But contingent to getting those funds is abiding by certain educational guidelines. And those guidelines include things like not teaching bullshit. Mm-hmm. And as soon as we find out that something's bullshit, you have to stop teaching it.
Right.
But that's not what these private schools are about. Also, here's the thing. Let's say that you're that parent living on the wrong side of the tracks. It looks appealing to send your kid to private school, so you vote in somebody for the voucher program.
Right.
Guess what? That private school is under no obligation to take your kid.
Right, exactly. And if you're really looking at like these really nice private schools, private school ain't cheap. Doesn't matter if it's nice or kind of middle of the road.
Right. Voucher's not going to cover the whole thing.
It's not cheap.
Yeah.
So,
and also, let's, when you take, 40 kids out of a school to go to some private school,
that's 40 kids worth of funding that school just lost.
Right. And it's not like the fixed cost of that school go down by 40 kids.
No.
You still have to pay all of the same amount for all of the teachers, for all the books, for all the, you buy 40 fewer books. But you're still like paying for the
really truly expensive things
are the infrastructure.
Exactly.
And that's a fixed cost.
That didn't go away.
That didn't change at all.
Right.
By losing those 40 students.
No, this is it's a bleeding dry of the public school system. Also, with nominal benefit to the private schools. And what's going to happen maybe is it's just going to drive up demand for public schools,
for private schools.
There's a limited supply, and we know what happens in those scenarios when there's, more not enough supply and a lot of demand.
Well, hell yeah,
prices just go up.
Well, not only that, but there will be an influx of new private schools that can be shitty.
That could be, yeah.
They're allowed to be shitty.
Yeah.
So, hell yeah, I'm going to start a private school. I'm not going to work very hard on it. I'm going to get some money.
And she's all about the charter schools as well, which are also problematic.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So yes, what this means is our taxpayer dollars. Now, I don't have any kids. You don't have any kids.
Right.
But we fund kids getting educated.
Yes.
And I'm thrilled by that. I want an educated populace.
Yeah.
But I am not okay with our kids going to a lot of times inferior schools, very often inferior education schools, teaching Jesus, my funds teaching Jesus. I wonder if there are any.
And here's the deal:
they need to start some madrasas just so that people
get really fussy,
pissed about the vouchers.
But here's the deal: if you're somebody who has kids, right? You've chosen to have kids. They're out. They're in the system. You're actually creating an expense for the system.
Yeah.
Right? You are the last person who should be given some sort of voucher that you should be able to pull out of it. It's you and me who should be given an option to get our money back.
Right.
If anyone, and we don't even believe in that.
Right.
Right? We're not creating a strain on the system.
Right.
They are. They get money back. Fuck them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's me. That's my opinion here.
Oh, we set something off in Frank.
I'm angry.
Yeah. So
my voice is getting pinched.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. That'll happen. So here's the thing. Money, this will thin the blood, the lifeblood of the educational system.
Yeah.
Spread it way out to where it's not as good. It basically will diminish the education of everybody. The kids who stay in the in the public education system will get a worse education.
Yes.
As will a lot of the kids that go to these private institutions.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So hooray for that. That's Betsy DeVos. Now we've got Trump announcing
oh boy.
A new task force, a federal education task force, and he's decided he's chosen as the head of this task force.
And what does the task force do?
It's looking at mainly, we don't really know yet,
but it's a higher education,
mostly higher education
task force.
But it's just an education reform task force. That's
okay.
Task force. That's all it's called.
Okay.
The head of it, one Mr. Jerry Falwell Jr. son of Jerry Falwell Sr. He is the president of Liberty University, which we made fun of a little bit earlier, in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Oh my God.
It's he's a worse choice could possibly be found. At least he's in education.
No.
But it's fake education because it's Liberty University. Even though, I mean, let's be fair, it's a liberal arts education. It's they have it's a degree thing,
right?
But yeah, they're gonna teach. But
it's all Jeebusy.
It's totally Jeebusy, and that's not education. I mean, you can be educated in that. Yeah. That's just called seminary. That's just called church. And the study of religion is interesting, but they're not religion studies people. They're religion believing people, and that's a very different thing.
Right.
So one of the
things, the kind of things that get taught in their biology classes.
Yes, indeed,
and probably their American history classes,
and their Earth history classes, their geology classes.
Right.
I mean, when you're required by your school to believe that the flood actually happened, you can't be a real geologist.
Right.
You can't.
And how's their do they have a geology program?
I don't know. Let's just assume that they do. I don't know. Here's the problem. He's obviously this religious leader, not education leader.
Right.
So one of the things that he hasn't talked much about things that he wants to reform, but one of the things he has talked about is Title IX.
Oh, dear God.
Title IX is the provision that talks about not being discriminatory on the basis of sex in education.
Yeah,
it's also basically it's the provision in our law that forces schools to be responsible for if students are sexually assaulted on their campuses, and to hold them. To keep them at a held to a level of responsibility on that. He does not like that.
No, because of that, all the rapes on campus.
Well, yeah,
he doesn't want to be responsible for those.
Yeah, he thinks that it's overregulation. It's federal overreach to require a school to care about the rape of their students. That's just rude. He says it's, quote, better left to police, attorneys, and judges.
They will be involved.
Yeah.
As well.
Right.
But so do you need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, and here's the thing. Liberty University, by the way, is sort of right in the middle of a big controversy because they just hired a guy who was the head of athletics at Baylor University.
Okay. Yeah.
And he basically has been accused of allowing a culture that is totally dismissive of accusations, that doesn't protect people, even when they know that one of their athletes has had a questionable past. They sort of sweep it under the rug.
Well, he's not there for that. He's there to play sport.
Get football. So Ian McCaw, he was a former football coach and I think head of the whole athletic department. And yeah, he resigned from the school in May after a sexual assault scandal. And then Liberty just snatched him right up.
That's the kind of guy they like.
That's Liberty material.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a little bit it's worrying when the man who hired a guy who's just fresh out of sexual abuse scandal, when that guy starts talking about getting rid of Title IX, that's minorly concerning. Maybe a little bit worrisome. Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's what. Boy, how does Trump choose these people? Seems like it's a...
Do you mean how does President Bannon choose these people? Is that what you're asking?
I mean, no. It's clear that Trump's in charge.
Oh, yeah. Super clear. 'Cause Trump had such big... Trump has been bigly Christian for so long.
Yeah.
He's so good at Christianing.
Oh, he's,
as we've learned,
he's going along with it. He's going along with something.
I mean, it was at Liberty University that he fucked up that he did that quote from 2 Corinthians. The fact of the matter is, I think Trump is just dancing with the girl that brung him when it comes to the Christians, and he's just catering to them because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about education. He's basically, I mean, all of his cabinet posts are like, he just finds somebody who hates what that cabinet
is all about,
what that administration does.
Yeah,
and he hires that, and he nominates them.
Yeah. EPA? You hate the environment?
Who hates the environment most? We'll throw that guy in.
Yeah.
Who hates the UN? I'll make them the ambassador. Who?
Yeah.
It's
Who
a game
hates
to him.
roads? Oh, okay. You're in charge of the transportation department.
Yeah, it's a game to him. But what it
Who
ends
knows nothing about nuclear weapons?
Right.
Rick Perry. Make him the energy secretary.
Yeah.
Did that one go through? I know it was suggested at one point.
Yeah, I
did
think
that
so.
actually happen?
I don't
God,
know.
it's so hard to keep up with all this shit.
I know. There's too much news because he just won't stop. He's a hurricane. How do you keep it all in track? Anyway, the whole point is that brace yourself, kids, because Jesus is coming to a school near you. If they have their way.
School visits. That's nice.
Yeah.
Like he's going to talk at an assembly.
Yeah, he's going to give an assembly. It's nice because he's got this great demonstration. He does a walk on water thing. He gives all the
cheer.
He gives all the kids. The kids aren't as stoked as you might think about bread and fish, but he does that trick for them.
They like the wine to water or the water to wine one.
Yeah, the teachers love that one.
It just taps the little water fountain.
Right.
Wine fountain.
Why? Everybody loves a wine fountain.
Yeah.
He has to hold the button though.
Yeah.
If the other people hold the button, it doesn't work. But if he holds the button, wine.
Hey, you want some wine?
Exactly. What do you have in a Pinot Noir?
Oh, well, let me.
I'm sorry. All we have is Zinfandel. Damn it.
Yeah.
You suck, Jesus.
Probably white Zinfandel too.
Oh, Jesus sucks so much. It's just a table red. It's Franzia.
I have no problem. There's lots of good table wines out there.
Absolutely.
Little blends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little red blend.
Do you think when Jesus turns water into wine, it's your favorite wine? If you're going to have magic, it might as well be the good stuff.
Yeah. Surely.
You would think.
It would have to be.
Anyway, if you have any comments, questions about education and or the wine therein, you can write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yes, it is. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group, which protects your anonymity if that's important.
Yeah, nobody will know that you're in an atheist group if you go there. It's there for you to just be a part of the group without you don't have to come out to everybody else on your Facebook wall about it.
And it's also a moderated group, which means that the discussion remains civil.
Indeed, and to that end, I'd like to thank Sarah, Amy, and Danny for their hard work as moderators on the Members Only Lounge.
And of course, we need to thank Mackenzie for all of her hard work on Facebook.
Yes, indeed. Thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club and to Gordon Johnston for their use of their fine music.
And thank you, dear listener, for listening.
We sure do appreciate it when you do.
Bye.